Hello everyone, and welcome to Think Well TV. In this community, we like to go deep into detail. With that being said, we're going to go over how much I made in this month of August in total income. That's including dividends, because I'm primarily a dividend investor, but also option premiums. I think you guys will be surprised kind of how I was in relation to dividends, how much I made in actual premium income. Also guys, if you notice, the thumbnails are green. For this one on the left side, that's for portfolio related content. Blue is for educational content. Now we're going to be going over each section briefly for full transparency so you guys can see what's going on. And then we're going to go into an Excel sheet at the end that kind of lumps everything together. There is timestamps in the description below. So if you guys want, you guys can skip ahead to whatever section you want to see. But remember guys, subscribe, click the notification bell and the like. And why not share the video with everybody you know? Alright, we're inside our biggest Fidelity account. It's in at $27,667. It has about $5,800 more in it. That's from the M1 Finance ACATS transfer being completed. So that's why we're up a little bit more. So for dividends, for August we got Verizon 1230, Nucor 604, O'Reilly 467, 915 from Welltower. And that's it from August. Generally, we would have Tanger pay us. We have about 100 shares of Tanger, so that would have been about $35. But they cut the dividend right now, or suspended it, I should say. So the grand total for the account in Fidelity right now is $32.16. Inside our HSA, we have $11,042.97. We're up about $1,000, maybe a little more. Let's jump into those dividends, though. So for August, guys, we had our Wells Fargo CD paid us $2.89. We had earned a penny of interest from cash just sitting there, and we made $8.98 from SPHD. That's all for August. Brings the total to $11.88. So for the two accounts so far, the total is $44.04. So getting a little bit higher. Let's keep moving, see what else we can get. This is our cash back account, sitting at $138.75. All this money was free, guys. So this is just cash back from my credit card. I don't use it a lot, but even when I do, I'm still getting back $138.75, which is great. Let's jump into those dividends. As you can see for dividends, guys, we received SPHD paid us 24 pennies. So this thing's climbing. So that brings the grand total to $44.28. Remember, guys, we have other accounts that still paid us quite a bit more. We're still going to jump into M1 Finance, see what we made for August. And then Robinhood we made the most in. And then we're going to go over premiums. You'll be surprised with that, guys. Let's keep going. I wanted to show you guys how much I made in dividends from M1 Finance, but since I transferred my funds over, unfortunately, they won't let me view anything. If I go in activity, it doesn't show any of my previous activities, which I thought they still would, even though I transferred my funds out and paid for a $200 ACATS transfer, which is ridiculous and unheard of, even though even on their site they say it's between $50 and $100. Traditionally, they charge $200, just so you guys know, to transfer your funds out. But if you email them, they'll say they only charge $100. And then if you ask them about it, they'll say, well, you should have read disclosures. Sorry. So pretty crooked place. I'm happy my money's out of there. But I did make in dividends. Luckily, I recorded it before transfer finished. I made $44.51 in dividends for August. Now, I'm hoping I don't have any more dividends coming through, because generally speaking, what companies are supposed to do, they're supposed to transfer your dividends over to the new brokerage. But with M1, I'm sure they'll just keep them for themselves with the way they are with their fees and everything else. But it brings the total to, for my Fidelity accounts and M1 at $88.79. Let's move into Robinhood. We made quite a bit more in there. Alright guys, inside our Robinhood account, we're sitting at $27,275. So not too bad on the balance. We have some options that look like they probably are going to get filled. But we're here to talk about those sweet, sweet dividends today. So let's jump into those. For August, the first dividend we received was from AT&T for $104. That's for the 200 shares I own, but that looks fantastic to me for one specific stock, getting that much. Next one was Abby, $23.60. That looks great. PBCT, that was for 50 shares. That's $9. We have 100 shares now, so come November, we're going to be getting $18. BTI, $13.68 was the last one for August. That's for 20 shares. We now have 30, so that's going to go up 50%. Come November, we're going to have even more dividends than we did in August, which is just great from the same companies. So that brings our total for dividends for Robinhood $150.28, which together that's $239.07. So as you can see, Robinhood was substantially bigger than my Fidelity accounts and them ones. So that's doing just great, my Robinhood. Now we did have some margin we were using. So that was $11.54. So if we minus that off, we get a total of $227.53. We're just going to scroll over basically our order history because there's some contracts in there. I'm not going to really talk about it. I'm just going to scroll through it because we're going to jump into Excel sheet so you can see. But this is just for transparency, guys. So as you guys can see, these are all the different things I did. There's a lot of canceled contracts. So I was trying to get a certain price to get executed. So that's why you see so many canceled. Those are for the different options. And we're just scrolling. And you see the dividends, things I bought, stuff like that for August. So now we're going to jump into our Excel sheet, and that's where we have everything together. Alright guys, this is a spreadsheet that I created just for you guys. Probably a work in progress. We might change some things, but we have the year here. We have all the different accounts listed, and we have the months across here. We have little lines between every quarter. So it's easier just to find each quarter and kind of compare months. So like when we look at August, for them on finance, we're down a little bit. I had some Tanger shares in there, and they're suspended the dividend right now, so we didn't get that. The Fidelity Roth IRA, we had a lot of Tanger shares in there, so we lost dividends in that one as well. So that's why those two accounts are down for the quarter. But our cash back was actually 16 cents up 24 cents. So that's actually 24 cents is kind of nothing, but in relationship to the 16 cents, it is up quite a bit. And then we also have the HSAs down some. So the cuts have been bringing accounts down, but Robinhood is up quite a bit. So it's up 124.95. It's at 150.28 now. So Robinhood's been growing consistently. Even if we look at last month, it was 122.05 versus 74.28. And then if you even look at the one before that, 55.28. So Robinhood's the one where I do most of my activity in. It's where I do a lot of stuff in. That one's growing very nicely. I do like that. If we look at the margin, I'm using just under $2,000. So that's at $11.54. So I minus that off. So that's where we got the $227.53 for the month. But this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is what's kind of important is we have in premiums $394 versus the dividends from all the accounts is $227. So just in the Robinhood account and premiums, I made $394. It's kind of insane, and especially if you look at last month, $491 in premiums. So May, I just barely started dipping my toes in them. I did some options before. It was in January or February. Robinhood had that crash. I couldn't really find all the data for my options, so I couldn't accurately put them in. That's why they're at zeros right now. I got assigned the 100 shares of Haynes, Ford, and Oxy. So I didn't do options for those 2 months, but these months, all the information is accurate. If we can see for the entire month, you made $621 when we do both dividends and options. And then last month was $734.89, June $481. So as you can see, that's growing pretty well too. Even if we just go back to January, $75. Now, mind you, there were some options in there, wasn't a lot. When they had that Robinhood crash, I couldn't find all my options information in there anymore in the history. If we scroll down to here, this is kind of a nice bar graph where we can see. So basically, since we didn't have the options income, it's just dividends. That way, total income's the same. Same for February, we have dividends, and then total income stays the same. But as you can see, they're slowly going up. And then April, we did have a little bit of a cutback, probably for some dividend cuts. And then we have May, they went up. When you look at the dividends and you look at the options, it's actually kind of significant how much the options are right here. But then it adds to the total income, which raises even more. So if you're looking at just the total income, too, as you can see, this thing's going up and up and up. And then in June, you can see we made more in options than we did in dividends. And then the same for July, we made almost double in options than we did in dividends. And then even if we look in August. So the options is actually been playing a huge role in how much income. And something to consider, guys, is we have over $100,000 invested, but about $70,000 of it is where the income's coming from, because we have a little over $30,000 in the 457K. So what that means is as we start withdrawing that money out of the 457K, which I plan on starting January or February, taking that money out, this income's going to grow even more. So the beginning of the year, sometime January, February, maybe March, I'm going to put $6,000 in the Roth, and then we're going to have that $9,000 to $10,000 from the 457K as well. And then hopefully next year too, I'll have this property sold. And if that's the case, I'm going to put a minimum of $5,000 more. I'll throw into Robinhood. Just looking at this graph, so far for 2020, things are looking fantastic. We're going to see what happens. Hope you guys stay tuned for the weekly updates we do. I'm curious to see what's going to happen too with those options. Am I going to get filled all those options? If I get filled all those options, then what's going to happen is I'll start doing some calls, but more than likely the options income will take a little bit of a hit. So we'll see how that affects it, but the dividend income will go up because we have all these shares now paying really nice dividends. Now I do have cash outside of these brokerages too, guys, to cover all the margin and all the options I'm doing. So I'm not playing with money I don't have. So that's something to take into consideration if you're watching this. I have the money to pay off the margin, pay off all the options, everything gets filled. I don't recommend margin, but if you guys do, make sure you actually have the cash somewhere to pay everything off if you need to. And not your emergency fund either. Having actual cash set aside to pay off everything if you have to. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of money to be made on Wall Street. I'm trying to take advantage of all of it. So you have some people that just invest for capital appreciation. Yeah, I'm trying to get some of that capital appreciation too. Mostly I focus on the dividends, but these options are doing fantastic. I mean, especially in comparison. And I can use that options money that I'm making to buy even more shares, which then pay even more dividends. Just some food for thought, guys. Alright guys, I was surprised about how much of my annual income actually came from premiums in comparison to the dividends. If you guys felt the same way, go ahead in the comments below, list your reactions. That'd be nice to know what you guys think to get your feedback for the community. But also, what I'd really like to know is how much you guys are making in comparison to how much money you have invested, so I can kind of see how I'm doing, and also the rest of the community can see how everyone else is doing. Make sure you guys, though, subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, and remember, as always, think wealth.